So if you don't want to be seen, you can just take yourself off. And if you don't want your names up there, you can also remove that stuff. But we'll run through this and you guys will be able to ask some questions later. But this is the Freedom Farm Academy, which there we go. Now it's working. So Freedom Farm Academy. This is really a original brick and mortar type of idea and concept that's really going to be an outlet in the heart of local communities, really showcasing all of the solutions to, a number of the problems of today. And through our extensive network, we've really identified some major gaps in the marketplace for really useful and edible perennial plants, quality soil amendments, hardy local seeds, hands-on education and courses, different technologies that can be brought to market. And we really figure that a central hub to showcase all these regenerative resources really makes a lot of sense, all while at the same time earning a great income by doing so, in a very conscious capital way. And on site, we'll be able to really provide serious education to level up the consciousness of all ages of people in all walks of life, and really forming incredibly valuable connections as we establish a self-sufficient, resilient network of freedom-loving people who can all support one another as the supply chain potentially cannot here in the very near future. So what you'll see here is kind of like a rendering of a Freedom Farm Academy. You can see we have a number of profit centers built in. This is a 1/4 of an acre property, not including the parking lot. So you can see here as some of the options or resources for earning a profit. You've got like a bulk material type of place, natural building that would maybe have, a kiosk, a seed bank, affiliate products, farm stand, offer classes, have coffee shop. Maybe it's an event space. There's design services could be housed in there, installation services, and just a overall homestead supply type of building. Then on top of that, you'd have the perennial nursery, some farm to table food options potentially, rainwater harvesting, aquaculture demonstration, learning opportunities, promote solar. Maybe we get chicken tractors in there, food forest abundance products, bees and honey, greenhouses. We can do plant propagation. We can have like a pick option where people can come to the site and pick food themselves. We can show and demonstrate freedom gardens. We can get into the compost tea and even house something like a farmer's market on a regular basis. So overall, you can see this is a very densely diversified regenerative business. And it's something that we believe can really be a hands-on tool for people to see all the things that are possible today and show them a working system that is thriving. And, the whole concept is to just demonstrate freedom, as we witness a symphony of elements forming a beautiful, abundant living food forest design. Each site offers a very unique but powerful inspiration for the community and implementation of those solutions, which will help secure their local food supply, as well as a number of other components of the infrastructure. And every feature in this space is designed to leverage the small space that's really available there. If you have if you're unmuted and you're talking, just please mute yourself so we can make sure everybody else can hear. There, I'm muted. So as mentioned, everything really is going to be maximizing the space that we have and really creating a space that's full of wonder and inspiration and really helping people envision what life can be like on their property and how it can fit into their lifestyle. And there's with the perennial food forest, there's so many different yields that can come from an on-site food forest being there. You can get into design sales, nursery stock, seasonal maintenance, hands-on education, and of course, the food that it produces. So it's again, a big showcase of everything that's possible with a food forest. We'll have the annual gardens, right, where this is more what we call the freedom garden. It's an applied strategy to provide with the immediate needs, right? We know a permaculture food forest takes a little bit longer to really be established. So we leverage the annual gardens in the short term. So getting a great annual garden, as we're calling it, a freedom garden. And it's really a strategy that will fit within a single season, utilize annual crops, and really provide the most calories possible inside this small but very well utilized space. We can get into like food fences where we're putting trellises up around that property and having, vining plants, securing both as like a functional barrier, and maybe we even get a vineyard, a small vineyard on the space. Getting into an herb spiral. This is one of the coolest things. You can set up where it's almost like it rises. So the center of that herb spiral is the highest, and then it spirals around, as you see there with the rock, going down towards the ground. The plants at the top, or the herbs at the top, need the least moisture, and the ones at the bottom would typically need the most. So you set it up in a way that as it rains, water is able to spiral down that, supplying both the herbs and the medicinal plants, and being able to really leverage a very compact area for excellent yield and production. Some of the other things that we'd be looking at integrating here on these sites would be, again, really just to demonstrate freedom with homesteading elements. So things like an apiary, right? Getting bees that can be utilized on that property to help with pollination, getting into like the vermicompost and compost tea brewing. So both very highly essential things that help with soil health, as well as, we have healthy soil. It brings life to everything else. We would probably set up a water feature, again, to provide both an ambiance as beautiful, and then at the same time showcasing how to store, harvest, store, and then utilize the water that is captured on that land. And it really it also represents a really high-end installation component. So again, a very valuable piece that people are looking for, and it can add both beauty and really resource to your overall food forest. And then another one here is the outdoor and indoor nursery. So we know that in order for us really to achieve what we're aiming to achieve, we're going to need to have great nursery stock as we install food forests in every yard. And every food forest is naturally a nursery, but we also want to be able to demonstrate what's possible. So inside these Freedom Farm Academies, we'll also be setting up indoor and outdoor nurseries where we can teach both propagation as well as the art of cultivating your own plants, and providing stock both for our own installations as well as people who are deciding to do DIY. Bringing in egg-laying hens. My wife and I and our children, we just got 7 hens. We've never had chickens before, but we decided to get started, just trying it. And what an incredible experience already. The kids love it. We love it. It's super simple. Obviously it takes consistency, getting out there, socializing with them, providing them a safe space, reduce their stress, show them that they don't need to be afraid of you, provide them with the food and water, etc. But overall, something that can be displayed, something that can showcase how productive, something like that can be. The chickens not only provide eggs, they also help with soil fertility, pest prevention, etc. And then on top of that, obviously the bonus of eggs. Another thing that we could add into these are more optional, but root cellars, a place to store your production. And again, a simple educational tool, something that could be built really anywhere, leveraging some old kind of technology, right? You see it's basically dirt and stones with a grass roof, and can be extremely effective for preserving food. And then even getting into small scale aquaculture. So being able to showcase what can happen in an integrative regenerative supply of animal protein and what that can do. And then we'll get into things like solar, and both with solar on the roof to capture energy, but maybe we're using passive solar to do heating and cooling, or getting into like geothermal, using cooling tubes to help regulate temperature in the building. And then also utilizing natural building materials and finishes. So things that have high performance, low toxicity, again, really showcasing all of the things that are possible to the world and doing it at a local community level so people can see, smell, touch, taste, feel, experience all of it and just really see what's possible. And as always, leveraging permaculture principles, we want to stack the functions, and in this scenario, for profit, right? We want to be able to provide a valuable thing for a community, and in exchange for that value, we get value back. And as we know, today, that value oftentimes comes in the form of dollar bills. In the future, who knows what it'll be? You know, maybe food will be one of the most important value things that we can have. But regardless, we want to ensure that what we set up here for whomever decides to invest and get started with these things, that there is a great return on value put in, value pulled out. So we have made certain that we've provided as many cash flowing opportunities as possible, and really putting it in a way where the people that invest and get started with these things have numerous ways to ensure that they are producing cash flow regardless of what's happening out there. So things like a point of sale consultations, design, installation services, the annual plants and the perennial plants that are propagated on site specific to the climate zone at which this is operating in. Doing things like paid tours where we're bringing people in intentionally and in a very systematic format, giving them a tour of all that's possible. And, you know, maybe it finishes with them picking some of their own food and we prepare some food together, or maybe they get to preserve something, you know, who knows, but those are other things that can be there. We are currently running tours at Galt's Landing, and people are paying, I think it's around $50 for a tour right now, and the experience they get at Galt's. It's an incredible experience. Everybody who's done it absolutely is blown away. And this is something similar we could operate at these kind of sites. Galt's Landing is essentially a Freedom Farm Academy. It was really the first one that we set up. We just kind of didn't know it yet. Another thing that could be done is, you know, you can build out areas for kids. How many children love being in this scenario, yet often don't even know how much they do because they don't get a chance to experience it. My 3-year-old is head over heels in love with her chickens. She's named them all. She was right in there right away, picking it up as soon as the first opportunity arose. When we actually went to get the chickens the very first day, she loves it. And it just seems so natural for kids around this stuff. So we want to be able to have opportunities inside these Freedom Farm Academies to, you know, really affect all ages. And in specific, sometimes just directed at children because we know they're the future. We'll also really work at ensuring we have locally grown seeds, right? Compost tea brewer. That's one where there can be huge profit margin. You can collect the rainwater. You can get the compost tea brewer. Really, that's the major investment, but then it's connecting the rainwater into the compost tea with your mix, and something that you really can get huge markups on. But we don't want to do that. We want to be able to sell it very, very inexpensively and have still a great profit margin on that. For like literally almost pennies a liter as opposed to dollars a liter, which is being sold other places. But even at pennies a liter, it can still be remarkably profitable because the cost of the inputs are so small. Another thing we want to be able to provide is the growing materials, right? Bulk materials. People are looking for the soils and the mulch and the other amendments that can be utilized on site. Mulch is something else that's often hard to come by, especially with good wood. And we can have a place where we can contact all the arborists and have them drop it off right at our place. And then we'll be able to, again, basically give it away and next to nothing to help ensure that we can set up more successful food forests. Another couple things we'll look at doing is ensuring that we can get our hands on some rare and exotic plants that will perform in the climate zone. Maybe they're not specific to it, but they'll perform there. And then the things that we can have seasonally available. We'll probably have some, food forest abundance merchandise kind of things, farmers markets, all that kind of stuff, and any other great technologies that we can find and bring into the mix. And then education, right? We know that a primary function of these things will be to drive education and the knowledge base up. And right now, it's one of the biggest gaps in converting people to growing food at home is their belief of how hard it is, how the complications behind it, the time commitment, the money, the weeding, etc. And if we can raise the level of understanding and education and knowledge in a community, it's more likely that they're going to be participating in this. So we want to ensure that we have as many learning opportunities on site as possible. And then, we know that it's great for nurturing community. As we continue to attract experts into our network, we want to be able to leverage their knowledge and educate and equip the communities at which we reside and do business in. So we want to be able to bring in local level experts, connecting with the master gardeners and the permaculturalists and the community that's already growing the food, the farmers, and then be able to have our place be like an extension at which we can form and really strengthen the local food production community. And by involving a community and involving all ages from the elders to the youth, we really do address some of the problems today. We get inputs from everybody in there, and it's also sowing the seeds for a brighter future as we continually strengthen the knowledge base of the youth. And, as we already discussed, training opportunities. Now, what we talked about before was training opportunities more for the general public, but now we can also do training stuff hands-on site for our installers or for other people who are installing food. And by us being a resource in that regard, it really creates a feeder system to find the best companies for us to continually team up with and bring them great projects as well as a great education. And it allows us really to develop a talent pool of labor to assist in the construction. Because, essentially, if we're intending to put millions of food forests in cities and yards around the world, we're going to need lots of well-trained, educated people to be able to help fulfill all of this transition. And then as we've gone through this, we really crunched numbers. We tried to be very conservative on all of this stuff so that we could ensure that we were under promising and then over delivering in the end. We figured to get one of these operations set up, not including land costs, that'll be roughly 1.008 million. Get that all set up. And then first year conservative profit would be roughly 217,000 with a payoff of roughly 4.6 years, call it 4.5, just to keep it simple. And that is with no real growth, which we know that's not going to be the case. The growth is happening already naturally as people discover there's serious potential food issues, as well as the other things that are kind of being unveiled as life unfolds today. But we know there will be growth. And then if we can happen to get this to a 10% growth rate with a little bit of a ramp up, by the time we're at year 5, we're already at roughly 320,000 a year. By the time we're at year 10, we're over 500,000 in annual income, which is outstanding. And it's really, timing is everything. This is one of those things where we have pretty much nailed the timing. Food Forest Abundance as a whole has pretty much nailed the timing. Now, we know that there's a big education gap and understanding that we are constantly trying to close, but overall, everything in both the climate politically, as well as the climate change narrative, as well as the food stuff, all of that is positioning us in a place where people every day are finding us and looking for us, and they don't even know it. And now it's just a matter of ensuring that we can capture that opportunity and translate it into real world results. And that's what this is. We've really distilled the vast knowledge of permaculture into a format that really can be delivered to a layperson. And when it's ready, it can really saturate the communities with knowledge and these principles and do so very, very quickly. Currently, internally, we've got over 40 in-house designers serving 8 countries around the world with a cooperative network, installer network of about 145 now, about 145 installers, again, servicing multiple countries around the world. We have over 1,000 abundance ambassadors at this moment, each out there doing a little bit, ensuring that our message is being spread just by people who love what it is that we're doing. And then on top of that, we're really getting into the mass media type of opportunities through the alternative space, right? The podcasts that Jim is on are all reaching hundreds to thousands to tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of people. The show that Jim and I do together is already established a lot of quick success, which is we're extremely grateful for that and kind of blown away at how fast it's moving, but we'll take it. Again, just another example of people are looking for what we're talking about. And, you know, the media is going to continue to take notice of who we are, and it's just going to continue to get out. We're working on a couple things right now that we know will make a big splash. So we're constantly trying to find ways to get our messaging out into the public, and you guys play a huge role in that as abundance ambassadors. And again, something that can be legacy driven, right? A lot of people today, if they know what's going on and they're tired of how their money is being kind of stolen from them, sitting in the banks or even sitting in stock markets, or, you know, name your investment today, a lot of them are in trouble unless you're a very wealthy person who's figured out how to make money in up and down markets and through inflation and all that stuff. People are definitely challenged. So there's a serious amount of people who are looking for ways to take some of their resources and capital and apply it to the solutions that can have the biggest impact. And a Freedom Farm Academy is one of those things. It's designed to build a legacy of freedom. It's designed to be that beacon of light in a local community that will really shine on everything that's possible and have people see it and come experience it. And as they leave there, have them be inspired to take action and create change on their own property or in their own community, whether that's setting something up on their property or going out or talking to somebody else and inspiring someone else to make that move. But regardless, as people come to these places, they will leave there and tell others and take action, which is everything we need right now. So, wanted to bring this to everybody's attention so that you had a good basic high level understanding of what it is we're doing now. And you could put on your caps and start thinking about, who do you know? Who have you come across? Who immediately popped into your mind that this may be exactly what it is that they're looking for, or could be something that they'd be open-minded to at least looking at. So thank you so much for paying attention to this, and I really appreciate it. Hope everybody got a little bit of value out of that. So I will stop sharing here. There we go. So anybody have any thoughts on what I just ran through there quickly?
Yeah, that looks amazing, Matthew. Thank you. So you saying that initial capital is about $1 million, and so that's what you're trying to duplicate there in Galt's Landing is to kind of create all those things which you created, and then have that be the kind of the factory which produces the cooperative partners and other affiliates, and then have everything kind of in-house, and just that way we don't got to go to other nurseries and source other things. We just do it in-house.
Well, kind of both, right? We know we're still going to need lots of people growing nursery stock. So the intention is not to have it be one and all. It's more like, we know there's going to be some of everything, right? We're very aware that we can't do all of this on our own, and collaboration is extremely important. But we also do want to be proactive and try to get out ahead of all of this as best we can, and setting up local communities with plants that are really hardy for that area, with the soil amendments, with really everything necessary. Does just make very good business sense and just logical sense in general. So with that, our intention is to, yes, subsidize isn't the word, but like support the local communities, kind of become the nursery site, the design site, the install site, etc. But also knowing that there's still going to be a point at which we leverage some of the other things that are out there.
Right. No, that's beautiful, because the nurseries near where I'm at, I've kind of looked at them. They have a lot of great trees and a lot of great stuff, but they're not put together holistically like you and Jim and the team out there, where it's like, we know what time it is. We see these politicians, left, right, these guys pushing us down this narrative. So it's like, we should like get it going and help each other. So looks great, man. Thank you for the presentation.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And that is 100% correct. It's all about helping, it really is. Add value to the local community as best we possibly can, with almost like flagship locations that demonstrate everything. And then in conjunction with that, still have all, the offerings, the opportunities for people to go out there and share this, right? To get an install and talk about it with their friends and family, and be able to have those things there. But then also have the Apple store, so to speak, right? Our high-end display center that everybody can come to for all things that they need for their own permaculture, food forests, and homesteads.
Right. Yes. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else have any thoughts on what we went through there?
I want to start.
I was kind of working on something similar to this. Oh, pardon me. Go ahead. Go ahead, Corey.
No, you were first.
Okay, I'll call on somebody. Corey, you can go.
Okay, sorry about that. Like, someone seems like
it's all good. I couldn't tell who else was talking. That's why I just chose you. So away we go.
Oh,
you can start, and we'll go to the person after.
I just wanted to say I want to be a flagship in a location in Colombia, but
awesome.
I'm probably a year out from being ready.
Okay.
But that's I have my sights on that.
Outstanding. Well, and if you're a year out on all of it, we can also start getting started if you have certain components. For example, if you have a land piece already, we can start mapping that out, thinking about how this will all look in that particular location, start sourcing materials, just really get into the design portion.
Yeah. I'll send you a link to what I have built already.
Okay. And then the other thing too, so you be the flagship, but start looking for other property owners that are in Colombia that would want to be a demonstration site. And maybe they're in different cities, different parts of the country. But regardless, we got to get this really permeating as many communities as we possibly can, as fast as we possibly can.
Okay, I will. That's all I want.
And this will be something that as people bring opportunity to us, I don't know exactly how we'll pay out commissions on this, but you can be certain there will be money that comes to the people who bring us these opportunities. Who's next?
So I was going to say that Juliet.
Hey, Juliet.
So I was talking with people. Hi. We're kind of a tourist destination. We're right on the edge of we're in between the Cascades and the Blue Mountains. And so people come here for a lot of outdoor activities. And so I was talking to people about doing something very similar to this Freedom Farm before I even heard about it, but also incorporating an event center. And I was like, how cool could it be if we could have like a tropical garden in Baker City? We're zone 5 and 6, depending on where you are in town and in the county. But, have like tropical gardens indoors with an event center, and then outdoors have our perennial local gardens and kind of incorporate that. But to do a demonstration site, maybe I could kind of put it all together, have that tourist aspect as well as the other.
Yeah, well, that's exactly the intention. Like, we want it to be able to capture the local market as well as be something that tourists would go and see. And right now, with Galt's in specific, as people travel to Florida, near Orlando, obviously one of the biggest tourist destinations ever, I think still probably the biggest, you know, that airport and the traffic that goes through there heading to Disney is just massive. I'm pretty sure it actually is the tourist capital of the world still, but we're doing marketing to attract people to come to Galt's and do tours, because why not capture their attention while they're there? They're looking for stuff to do. Give them a tour that will knock their proverbial socks off and inspire them to leave there with the intention or with an actual purchase of doing this on their own property. And maybe not all of it, right? Wherever someone starts, the best place for them, we love it. Whatever's the best place for you, let's help you get that started. So that's what ultimately we're both hoping to inspire local, as well as whatever way we can get people into these. If it's through tourism,
About to talk,
great,
so don't
right?
come in here.
Anything that people are looking for, fantastic way for them to get that education.
It's very exciting. Very exciting.
Amy, I think I heard you were going to say something.
Yes, I was wanting to get together like a presentation to take to like a local food pantry, because the first place people are going to go to is the food pantry. I was thinking maybe a local, you know, like a Lions Club and different churches would contribute to something like that in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And a presentation would be great. Just, I'm not as good with my words and with somebody, because I want to go there to be able to show them like a presentation and maybe a flyer and something like that. With this is perfect. If this is available later, I'll use the recording from here.
Yeah, I will
If there's
share it.
something more polished, that would be wonderful too.
Yeah, I may, like, I'll have a watch of this. I did record it, and depending on how I think it all went, we can utilize it as a tool. And we already have done a couple other recordings with it. And maybe I go through it again by myself and do something, or we have someone else do it. So we do have a few recorded versions. And also the Jim Gale Show episode 4 was really all about this.
Yeah.
So if you have not saw that.
Yeah, I've seen it, but I was trying to have something that I could download easily on my computer, and I don't know how to do. Yeah.
I was just saying that to everybody. If you haven't,
Okay.
if you haven't saw that one, and you wanted kind of another recap of what this was all about, you can check out the latest episode, and we go through it.
Like if some churches are hesitant about doing it on their side, maybe all the churches in the area would contribute to one together, you know? So.
Yep. Sarah, I just wanted to get the link to share with you the most recent Jim Gale Show. Yeah, the churches are great opportunities. Food banks, you know, tremendous one, where in that scenario, if they were able to get something set up, it could be a way really for the people who use the food bank to learn a new skill.
Yeah, I was totally thinking that too.
Right?
Yes.
Be involved in the solutions. Maybe give
for them to take home like a sweet potato vine, you know?
Yeah, well, and it
like
may
that.
be something that gives them a purpose.
Yeah, and they could come
gives them a new
and work for their food or something.
Yeah, exactly. It can impact at a local food bank so incredibly well. It's kind of hard to even wrap your head around all the positive impacts that it could
my
have.
mind was swirling, but I just wanted to go in there with the definite good impression that they could see the vision.
Yeah.
I already got I have a promise for a purchase of a design from the lady in Africa that's a missionary.
Hey, outstanding.
Yeah.
So I just shared to everybody episode 4 of the Jim Gale Show. So it's about an hour and 10 minutes, but again, goes through really what it is in very kind of in-depth detail with myself, Michael Hoffman, and Jim. So that's something you can utilize to promote and share.
Okay.
Also, I can probably share the slide deck with everybody.
And that could be say like one church wants to help 1 week, another church wants to help another week, and because to this food pantry, my church contributes canned goods every week, you know, and then I know all the other churches do in the neighborhood as well. But
yeah, and
I
this will
said-
be every one of them will be run how the people who decide to take it on want to run
Yeah.
it. The core that we want is it needs to be open to the public. It needs to be, we want it to be a cornerstone kind of centerpiece of a community, be able to be something that anyone who wants access to it really can get it and take some value from it.
Yeah, there's a great need in, well, I guess everywhere, but I see it here too. I live in a real small town, and when the gas suffers, then the groceries are expensive here, and they're expensive and they're less expensive in town. So people are stuck here and they can't get cheap, good food that they can afford.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah, it's a problem everywhere.
Yeah.
Really at this moment, and I think it's about to get worse. So if we're aware that this may be a calm before a storm, now's the time to really take action if that's your belief. So that's what we're
I want my
doing.
neighbors to have food so they won't come and get mine at my house.
Well, the more you can get people growing food in your community and stocking up on food, the more secure your community is going to be. Because when people start not having food, it can get to desperation, right? And desperate people do desperate things, and that's kind of a terrifying scenario to think about. So hopefully it doesn't get that bad. Most people kind of wake up before it gets too crazy and start buying some extra food for themselves.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's people who don't have extra money to be able to buy extra food. But overall, whatever they can do to help themselves weather this seems like serious coming storm, I highly recommend we as a community inspire and help.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on this right now?
I don't have a question about this, the Food Freedom Academy, but you said something about some slide deck, and I think Perma Lady was mentioned as well, to have like the slides that go present to other organizations. Is that available anywhere, or is there any proposals that I can see?
That's what I was just thinking about, was the slides that I just ran through, being able to share that with everyone. And, you guys can take that and utilize it to present. And I'm 99. Well, I'll go 98. I'm 98% sure that this one's kind of ready to be shared public facing. So let me just confirm that. And then what we may do is similar to where I haven't been loading up some of our most recent talks, because there's just been less like structured content. So there is a folder where I've done and uploaded a bunch of the trainings, and maybe I can put this along with the slide deck in there for everyone. And then I'll make sure everybody has that drive folder again.
And this is related to the ambassador thing too. This is my first call, so I was going over the email, and I'm jumping on to kind of get in the game a little bit. So it'd be wonderful to see some proposals that have sold. I know we briefly talked about the install is kind of where the profit margin is, you know, anywhere from 17 to 30K, depending on the size of the space. But it really feels like you and Jim, the team, have a real solution to what's going on here and put together in such a good way. So if there's any presentation or the proposal or something that's editable, because I feel excited, just like probably everyone else here, to go and share this with some people who would have 20K to drop on their farm. And then we can use that as a kind of like even a before and after photo, let's say a presentation. So I can show some prospects as, hey, here's what it looks like before, and here's what it's after, you know, and kind of get them enrolled in the possibility for them to create their own food forest. Because you said a great thing, which is the more food forest we have in the neighborhood, the safer this neighborhood is going to be. I mean, that's a great sales point right there. I love that sales point. So I'm like, yeah, we want safety. So you got to have one. You got to have one. You know, come on, we'll help each other. And we still have a little bit of time, but I feel the urgency, just like probably everyone here. We're like, yeah, the window's closing. And
the window's closing.
Oh man! So any type of like a proposal that somebody's using, or you use, or someone out there is using, I would love to see what it looks like.
So what I do and what I find produces the best results is I really try to keep it simple. So I don't go in delivering proposals to people. I'm more get them open-minded to what it is we're talking about and help them grasp some of the basic high-level things that are important. So getting them to understand that we, in this scenario, are talking about permanent agriculture, perennial plants. We're working with nature instead of against it. We're setting it up in a way that, in theory, you can put it in the ground and a decade later come back to it for the first time and have it be thriving. Now, would you, in that scenario, lose some things? Of course, but generally speaking, that's the concept, and it starts with design. So the number one thing that really kicks all of this off is the design. So think architecture, right? I want a house, I got to get the design. I want a great food forest that's going to be productive, I need a design. The design is really the sciencey part. It's putting the plants into what's called a guild that work together. So you're putting different things into that guild that support that particular guild of plants. So they all essentially work, they share nutrients, they're in communication and whatnot. You may have pollinators that are put in there, or that specifically bring in bees to help with this thing, or, you know, that's the complicated piece, but it all starts there. So once someone knows they would like to grow some food, we help them understand that what they're looking at doing is setting up permanent agriculture on their property, utilizing perennial plants. In the short term, we will also incorporate annual stuff to help them yield as fast as possible. But the ultimate goal is to build a perennial permaculture food forest on their property that's been thoughtfully designed and then installed, and then help them get that really growing and thriving, and then taking it and inspiring their community to do more. So once I get them open-minded and through that, you know, a couple key pieces of info there, I really like to utilize the Highwire interview. So really the first interview that really kind of brought us to market was Jim meeting with Dell. They do about 30 minutes. That is, again, available on YouTube, and something that can be shared with people. And the open-minded person is going to go through it and come out the other side going, yeah, I like this and I'd like some more information. And at that point, they're going to have just an overall better understanding of what it is that they're looking at and how we can support them. And from there, you can kind of move call to action to buy the design. You could get them onto the website for a little more information. You can connect them with me, or as you are involved in the Abundance Ambassador community and start getting to know some other people there, or starting to get to know some of the cooperatives, just all the resources that we have, start thinking about who can I leverage to help move this all forward. And on top of that, we are going to continue to get better and better as far as our marketing and educational collateral goes. I personally think that we could use, I'll just call it a sizzle video. So something that's like 90 seconds long that really explains some of the key points I just mentioned, very concisely, methodically, gets a person inside that 90 seconds to go, yes, I'm open-minded to more, or no, this is not for me and I'm out, right? Because we want to get people in front of information, have them make the best educated decision for them if they're open to more or not. And then if they are, we can identify, okay, you are open to more. What did you like? What did you like best about what you saw? So they tell you, they give you insight into what they're thinking about personally. I don't ask, what'd you think? My word is, what did you like best? And then after they give me that response, I now know how to direct them to more info if they're still open to it, right? So I think a sizzle video, then something a little bit longer, but not much. Maybe it's the 5 to 7 minute range that kind of gives a little bit more of an in-depth dive into what we're doing. And then you could even add a third step to that, which is something that's more like 30 minutes. But utilizing tools in that kind of fashion, you get to eliminate people kind of every step of the way. And then the ones that pop out the bottom, that they've done their homework. I did step 1, I was open to more. I did step 2, I wanted more. I did step 3, and in between there, I have probably gone and, looked at websites and read other things and that kind of stuff. So by the time we're through step 3, you have a person who's ready to buy, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. The high wire interview with GM was phenomenal. So yeah, there's some great before and after photos that they did there. So I could probably just take some screenshots from there and even maybe cut up something. If I cut up a little video, I don't have excellent editing skills, but I can do something, to make it accessible for other people that might want to use it or something. But yeah, I think there's probably enough content there to take that 20 minutes and get it down to, 60 seconds. Say, here's what it is. Here's what it looks like at the end. Are you interested? We'll give you a design, and start that proposal process.
Yeah. And again, the reality is people are looking for us. People are thinking it's time to grow food.
Right.
It's just a matter of finding them. So getting vocal, letting people know we exist, whatever way you can, whether that's through social media or face-to-face or whatever is best for you, but they're looking for us. You can see if you do any analytics online right now, you can see search terms for growing food are growing drastically. Right now, the primary place people are going is YouTube, right? People are going there. How do I grow food? That's the place. So the search terms are going up, or the search is around the terms are going up. And it just, again, solidifies that this is the time to just be loud and proud about it, especially if you're hoping to inspire others to take that kind of action. Utilize tools, let them go through it on their own terms and own time. And then the right ones will raise their hand and you move them forward to the next thing. And as I've mentioned before to everybody, you can utilize me to speak with people. I'm happy to do so. So if you want to introduce them via an email, I'll put my email in here again, or we can book something directly. We can do an email and then book something directly into my calendar. And I always, if you're open to it or would like to, you can definitely join me on any of those calls. Just making sure I spelled it right. Yeah. But yeah, I'm always happy to help you out speaking with anybody.
Hey, one question also, I just got the, I'm in the dashboard as well. So I was looking at the referral link and then the coupon code. What is the difference? So I see there's a 17% referral commission, and then there's a coupon code of 5% off. So is that the same thing, or in which scenario would I use one or the other, or how does that work in the system, or is that still being worked out?
Some people are, maybe they're a podcast host and they'll say it on their show, use referral code, because we do have a number of podcast hosts who just joined the community and then they're sharing it in that regard. Some people have worked at like farmers markets or trade shows, landscaping show, that kind of stuff. And maybe they'll have a business card there, and on the back of the card, they'll put their coupon code as well as their referral link. The referral link is just the place where someone can go and click on and directly get a little bit of education and also make a purchase right there. And it's tracked right back to you, the referrer.
So the referrals for the design.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And the coupon code is
Same thing. Coupon code could be utilized for design or a consultation, like really anything.
and it would still come to me,
Correct.
but this
Yeah.
gives them a discount of 5% is what it looked like.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Does that reduce our commission to 12%? Is that correct?
Yes, it does. So when people do use coupon codes, it reduces commissions.
The other thing I've been trying to get people to understand, I had a girlfriend who brought over a whole bunch of rhubarb the other day. And I was like, wow, I got all this great rhubarb. And I was curious, what does rhubarb cost on the market these days? I found 100% frozen pureed rhubarb on Amazon, 2.2 pounds for $49.80, and like another $20 for shipping. So I told this to my girlfriend, and she's like, oh my God, what did they do? Wrap that in gold? And I'm like, no, baby girl, you're growing gold in your yard. They keep telling us that money doesn't grow on trees, which is true, but wealth can, or in patches or bushes or vines or, wherever. So if I kind of try and get that concept to people across, that you're growing money on your tree right now, and that seems to spark interest quite a bit.
Well, and also remember that as the food supply system continues to go through intentional sabotage, maybe, things are going to cost more, right? And every time things cost more, the things that you grow on site become, more valuable to you and more valuable to others. And every time, you pick an apple from your own tree, you save an apple that's being currently produced in the farming system for somebody who maybe needs it a little more than you do, right? So every time we start producing more things at home, it has a ripple effect beyond just our community in a very, do good for yourself, do good for others type of way. Anybody have any other thoughts or questions, comments, inspiration, funny jokes?
Juliet, that's a great point about the money doesn't grow on trees, but you can grow wealth. You can't eat money, right? Money is a medium of exchange. And so food is actually more valuable than money, other than it's an interchangeable thing. So I did see that quote, and I posted something about that recently too. It's like we literally are growing money, or barter ability of value to give to other people. I just started growing some stuff recently. I have some eggplant, I got some tomatoes, I got some watermelon coming, I got some strawberries and raspberries. I don't know what I'm doing, but I put it in there. I went to the Exit and Build Summit down there with Jim and John Bush, and Jack Spurko said, walk out of your backyard or your front yard, wherever you see the first patch of dirt, plant something right there. That's all you got to do. So it's like, we have this great vision, but it's like, just start, plant some seeds. Now, every fruit that I eat, I get the seeds out now. I got some Asian pear seeds I'm drying out right now. I got some mangoes, melons. I'm like, I don't know if it's going to grow, but I'm going to try. And that way they'll give me some experience on my local community area. And then what's really cool about the interview with Jim and Dell is they bring in a local expert. So Jim has this local expert. He says, hey, what works here? And this guy's been there like 30 years. He's like, oh yeah, this, that, like you're saying, man. We bring in some other consultants or some other professionals, and they can tell us exactly what will grow here. What exactly is the climate will allow. So I just wanted to comment on that, Juliet. We're growing money on trees and helping people. It's triple win, it looks like to me.
Yeah, it really is. One of those triple bottom line things.
Yeah.
Mike, want to jump in here?
So I'm like, it's kind of like, it's like a big learning curve, like trying to get in, just like the education when it comes to permaculture. And I mean, also trying to figure out a location, because I'm close to the Orlando area. I still got to try and head over to Galt's Landing at some point, because I'm actually going to be moving back to Mass. So, but there's an area I've always wanted to kind of like do something like that with, like have like an educational area, have something central, so that way people would be able to go over there and kind of see the possibilities. And it's something I'm working towards, but like, it's just like, I mean, I have that I'm learning, and then like things with like zoning and stuff, because I'm looking at like this building that I wanted to kind of like purchase, and then it's just like, okay, there's just a lot when it comes to the learning. So I feel like I'm just kind of like in this like self-education state, and I'm still like going with it just before I can kind of like move forward with that. But just like the education part, like just learning what I have from here, and then like going on YouTube and talking to friends and family about it, and kind of getting more comfortable with it, more confident with it, has kind of been like the thing I'm working on. But going back to what you were talking about earlier, like to have that opportunity for someone who, I mean, if they already have that amount of money, if you look at it as far as like franchises and things like that and stuff, like, are you going to sit there and like put that into McDonald's and run like a McDonald's and buy into that franchise? Or would you rather buy into something like this, where, I mean, you're selling, but you're also helping others craft their own freedom, which is like something that we need.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's just, and to have that, and to kind of like change that narrative of like, there's only one way of doing it. Like I was talking about it last week, like changing that narrative, showing people like that clean water, and like, hey, this is what you should be drinking, and just getting them educated with that. Like it's good. And just to see this community grow, because I remember, like, I don't know if anyone here watches like Tinfoil Hat It All with Sam Tripoli.
Yeah,
like
that's where I first heard of Jim.
Yeah, that's where I first heard of Jim too. And just to kind of like see that, and then meeting you guys, I think it was like last year when I was talking to you and Jim, and then just to see like how far you've come on your journey, and then just like kind of showing other people like, hey, this is a really good thing. It's what the world needs right now. It's here. I'm not going to make you go over there, but it's there if you want to go there. Like,
it's something that I still would consider myself very much a beginner. And I do a little bit every day. I learn every day. I've just become a hungry student, so to speak. But I guess to state it better, I've always been a hungry student. I love to learn. School was not the place for me, but now that I can learn whatever I want to learn about, I definitely ensure every day that I am learning, and I learn a lot. I continue to, and I always will. I just love it. And it's now that I'm in this space, I can see all of the preparatory work I did up to getting to here, how well it translates into what we're doing now, and how I get to really focus on mission-driven, value-driven type of work, and not be thinking about dollars this like I used to, because I'm just focusing on adding as much value to the world through this incredible business model, and not thinking about any of that coming back to me, because it naturally does. The more value you put out, the more value you get. And this is, in my opinion, today, one of the most valuable things you can do because of numerous stuff, right? So if we think about all of the current large systemic issues that are affecting both the individual and kind of the world at large, a couple of the core ones are, we have the pandemics and the health issues, the chronic disease, right? Like that's catastrophic, the amount of that going on. We have this climate change narrative, and whether you believe it or not, the reality is humans have definitely done some destruction to the earth, and then you have the food issues. So, we got 3 core big ones, but then you stack in like finance system, medical system, and on and on. Growing your own food impacts every one of those things, right? It reduces stress, it improves your health, it reconnects you with dirt and the microbiome and helps your own microbiome get stronger. It can be like printing money. It can reduce the likelihood that you're going to be one of those people with 4 comorbidities and impacted from the next pandemic. It can help sequester carbon. Literally, plants pull that carbon in and down into the soil, right?
Yeah.
Like literally. So as we get more food forests growing, we're going to be sequestering carbon, and the benefits are just so drastic. And then if you think about how valuable is all of that, like, I don't think you can put a number on it, right? It's priceless. So if we can inspire enough people to have them take that understanding and then proudly talk about it to the world, there's no stopping what we have here, right? It literally will change the world to one more down the lines of a freedom-based world and mindset, right? Where everybody is the best they can, taking care of themselves and doing what's best for them and others. And that really is the game-changing part. What's best for you and others, and it's happening naturally with what we're doing here. So
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's a
well
great
said,
point. I want
well
to mention,
said.
yeah,
Yeah.
something about what you said, Michael, like, working on getting a building, I gotta learn these things. And then even like Corey, you're gonna plant your flag and be the main guy in Colombia. It takes time. So like I was thinking, man, I gotta get this thing going by, okay, even in a year, this is still gonna be important, even in 2 years, and it's just gonna continue to increase in importance. It's like you said, Matthew, was like, you guys hit the perfect timing because we're at the beginning, but it's just going to ratchet up in importance, and hopefully we can all, grease our wheels and get ready to rock it and learn everything we need to learn in the next 6-12 months, and really, slay it in the next, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Not just for the money, but for the people, for the humanity. I mean, some people are gonna be suffering. It's like, I'm gonna be having my little sweet potatoes in the back, and so probably you guys, so we can be independent. And I don't like seeing people suffer, probably like you guys. So just understand it takes some time, and we're all self-educating ourselves. So thank you, Matthew, for your leadership, and for Jim. And I think that'll probably be my last questions, but I just get so excited talking with other like-minded people who know what time it is and aren't falling for this, scamdemic BS.
Yep. And there's a lot of us, a lot more than we think.
Yep.
Yeah, that's mine.
Serious amount more than I think we think.
And I have one comment on that, because you said something, Matthew, about the desperate people do desperate things. On the flip side, the predator psychopaths appear to be making some very desperate moves, and so
yes.
they had to do it. And on that Inspired channel, there's a interview with a guy about the Project Looking Glass. And if you haven't seen that interview, very powerful. It's about 11 minutes, but it just says, ultimately, it's not the end of the world, it's the end of their world. And so they're losing grips on the information and the media and everything. Now the cat's out of the bag, and now they're like, they don't know what to do, because now we can name them. We know their names, and like we see their hands. We're no longer dumbed down entirely. We actually have our minds about us, and rightfully so. People are very upset, and so violence isn't the answer, but leaving them behind, the exit and build strategy is very exciting to me. So anyways, you guys are on the right page, as you know, and yeah, man, thanks for leading the way.
Yeah, and you're bang on, man. The internet has got away from them. It's provided a way for everybody to grab the information and now start making better decisions, better choices, become more aware of what's really hitting them. We're being hit in a variety of ways from our governments and our media and our medical system and our education system, and name your thing. It's unfortunate, but it's been extremely effective. And one of them that really kind of cascades and starts all of it is the education system, right? From a very young age, we're impacted by that thing, and it's that wasn't designed to make sure that we had the most powerful children, little humans that we possibly could. It's actually completely the opposite.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
you know, you can see that it has worked in real time right now, as you go read. You know, for example, I heard a couple days ago about 2-3 minute long clip from someone very high ranking in the military in the United States, who was giving official military statistics on chronic disease that were showing up and injuries and that kind of thing. And they have the data, right? Because every year until now, they've kept the data. And then now that they've started the waxing of people, the vaccines, they're still keeping the data. They're seeing it. So they're seeing massive increases in all of these, the myocarditis and the different types of cancers coming back, and, name your thing that this is impacting, and they have the stats. So they're just sharing them publicly. But the point of what I was saying there, and how you can tell that the education system has worked, is that the people commenting on this stuff, the things that they're saying, right? They're asking, who's this guy? Is he an expert, kind of stuff? Or he's clearly not trusting what the science is saying. There's no relation, like there's lots of that kind of stuff, which clearly shows that the system of mass, the way weaponized the institution of education against us. It's dumbed us down to the point where facts are hitting people straight in the face from incredibly credible sources, and they still go, no. It's so blatantly obvious, the cognitive dissonance that's happening, and how people are refusing to take off the blinders and start doing their own education on it, and just continue to trust the experts, trust the media, trust the politicians. So
yeah, but
anyways.
I mean, well, right. And then you also get like the people who are kind of aware of it. Like you have like it's called, I don't know if like anybody here has ever heard of the bystander effect, where like, yeah, so basically it's like you realize that there's a problem, but there's so many people around us, even more so now, kind of in a way because of like social media and everything. So you just assume that somebody else is going to take care of it. And I mean, people like, it's been assumed for a while, and so far it hasn't been taken care of. And now it takes kind of groups like everybody here and everything, and working everywhere else in the world, to kind of be like, okay, I see the problem. I need to do something. Like I need to, whatever, how big or small it is, I need to at least do something instead of assuming somebody else is. And I mean, getting back to education, like, I don't know, has anybody ever heard of like the Rich Dad Poor Dad series with Robert Kiyosaki?
Yep.
Just like the whole thing when it comes to financial, like how the education system kind of like forsakes like financial education and keeps you in that like worker bee quadrant instead of like trying to show you independence. Like it's so layered, it's frustrating, but we got to do what we can. So
yeah. It's funny. I was listening to Robert Kiyosaki and Brian Rose today, London Real podcast.
Yeah. Crazy, but we got to do what we can while we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And Robert talks about how important it is to grow food and some of the things that he's investing in at this moment. For example, he is buying Wagyu bulls, Wagyu beef.
Yeah.
Why is he buying that? We would ask. Well, he's like, rich people are still going to be rich. They're going to, like the truly wealthy people through all of this will still stay that way. And they're still going to be buying incredibly expensive Wagyu beef. So he's like, I've invested in bulls, and people pay me for my bull to go essentially impregnate other cows. And, he's like, that's one of my investments now, because I have analyzed what's going on in the world, and this is a place that I can make incredible returns on my investment, while other people are, he's like, it wasn't my thing. It wasn't my number one choice, but as I understood what's going on in the world and the economy and whatnot, this was a
Bro,
investment that I figured out was well worth it. So,
what a savage. What an absolute savage.
he's a guy that owns the gold mines, right? He buys
Yeah.
the wells. He's still super heavy on oil, but he doesn't just buy oil commodities. He invests in the actual production of it, right? So, anyways, lots of opportunities to learn, lots of incredible stuff going on. This is our chance to inspire the change and be the leaders that, and maybe we take a few arrows in the back as we're getting this messaging out there. But we need leadership now. We need people inspiring others to take action around growing their own food and strengthening our economy. Our communities. And from that, the impacts will be very long lasting. So it's a honor to be a part of it. And I hope that all of you kind of feel the same way. And together, we're just going to continue trying to figure out the best way to get as many people in front of the information as possible, help them make the best decisions for themselves, and on to the next one.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right. Thanks so much. It was great seeing all of you today. And I'll ensure to get this recording out, and wish you an incredible week. And if anybody does need assistance from me, please reach out. I did put my email in there, and I'll also do my phone number so you can fire me a text or give me a call. Okay. And I'll just keep that there for a sec so you can jot it down, because as soon as I end the meeting, it will all disappear. All right, everybody got it?
Yeah. And then Corey, I just went on LinkedIn, like I'm following you, so I'll see if I can send you a message or something like that.
All right, team. Happy Monday. Have an incredible
Yeah.
week. Let me know
Happy
if I can help in
Monday,
any
everyone.
way. Cheers.
Thank you, everybody.